Welcome to the Scala REPL. In this lesson, you will learn how to describe how to use the Scala REPL to experiment and validate your ideas and implementation before you put it into production. The Scala REPL is also called the Read, Evaluate, and Print loop. It is a tool that many languages have, and Scala does as well. It is an interactive shell session to try out logic before you deploy it into production. To enter a REPL session, first of all, you have to have an activator project that you want to use, just as we saw in the previous lesson. So now that I have my temp project, I start activator inside of the root folder of that project. And then I type the console command once I'm at the activator prompt. You should now see a Scala prompt showing that you have a console session open in the REPL. And I can very easily create data, such as 1 to 10,000, creating a sequence of numbers from 1 to 10,000 inside of a collection. You'll notice that the value is automatically assigned a name called result 0. And if I perform any kind of transformation, such as mapping over the data and saying for every number, add 1 to it, I get a new result, in this case, result 1, with the values changed based upon the transformation that I gave. And if I look back at my result 0, you will see it still exists and hasn't been altered in any way, shape, or form. I can also perform very basic data science operations inside of the REPL. For example, if I create a range of values from 1 to 20, I can say for that result 3, I want to group them by their remainder whenever I say for every number, get the modulus of dividing by 3. In this case, I end up with a collection where the index is the remainder and the value associated with that key is all of the values that had that remainder. I can also perform Spark operations inside of the REPL. When we showed off our activator templates earlier, we saw an example of how to do n-grams. N-grams are just a sequence of tokens, typically words, of which there are n number of them. We can use the n-gram class in Spark to transform input features into n-grams. And to do so, the first thing I'm going to do is use paste mode inside of the REPL to paste in a group of import statements. And then I hit Control D, which has all of them interpreted as a single command. Next, I'm going to create a Spark context. And don't worry about what Spark contexts or any of these concepts are yet, as we'll be explaining more about them later. But this is just an example of some simple functionality that you can build inside of your REPL. And I'll call this temp project. And I have to give it a master inside of the Spark configuration. Now I have a Spark config, and now I can create a Spark context using that config. Next, I can create a SQL context from that Spark context. Next, let's paste in a new data frame representation of values that we want to convert into an n-gram. In this case, 3 different sentences indexed by an index number. I hit Control D to end paste mode and evaluate this word data frame. Now I can create an n-gram by creating an instance of a new n-gram class where I have to set some arguments to the new instance. And then I create an n-gram data frame by transforming the word data frame I just created. And then I can perform a transformation on the n-gram data frame, which will allow me to say, take the first 3 lines and map over them where I say for each line, get it as a stream of string, applying type safety as we go, which I'm going to call n-grams, and I'm going to turn into a list. I'm then going to print them out, which is an action, by saying for each println, which results in the 3 streams being printed out as sentences in a list.